Hi, I'm Will Bosi and we're here at the legendary Schoolroom, which is Ben's training facility, and yeah, we're gonna go board climbing. Oh, balls. So the Schoolroom, for those of you that don't know, was like one of the first climbing training facilities kind of ever made. It was Ben Moonswall that he would train at with Jerry Muffet and people like Malcolm Smith. And it was all based around this 50-degree board, which is up behind us. It's the original board, all the holds are the same ones, and it was kind of kept in storage and then put back up here. So today I'm just gonna do what sort of my normal board session would look like training here. So I'd start off by warming up, and I'd do either a little bit of a light fingerboard, a light camps board, and then a couple easier problems. And then once I get onto the board, I have like a sort of board warm up that I do on top of that, where I'll do 4 of the 8 A's on the board, which I find not so bad. So they kind of like wake me up into pulling really hard. And then after that, I get into the 8 B's on the board, so the hard ones, starting off with Perky Pinky, which is one of Malcolm Smith's 8 B's. That's kind of become like a real sort of test for, I feel like, the top climbers, especially in Sheffield and the UK, is like something to come and try. And then I go on to Alex Megos' one that he added called Pinky Perky, which is like more of a basic crimp pulling one. And then after that, get into the hardest one on the board, which is Malcolm Smith's Milk It, which he also gave 8B, but is probably like a grade above all the other 8Bs, at least. And it's just like the most savage small pinches you've ever seen. So coming and training here on the 50-degree board is like, for me it's great. It's like, it gets me as psyched as going to the crag, because you get to get on these old historical problems that Ben, Jerry, Malk were all training on, and they've got history behind them. You know they're hard, and I mean, in a way they're kind of hard, well, they're harder than what you're probably doing at the crag, and it's just being able to come and actually train on them and try them a lot, and it's just, I don't know, it gets me so motivated. Although you can do new stuff and you can like leave your sort of bit of history on it, like doing a first ascent at the crag, it's also just coming like appreciating what was done in the past and like what the beginning of training kind of in climbing was. It's super cool. Even though it's obviously quite old now and a lot of the holds have deteriorated, they're still like, the majority are still spot on. And it's a good mix between resin and wood. It's like a feet follow board, and it's basically just like, it's kind of like almost a perfect board. And it was like one of the first, attempts at a board that was done. And it was, 30 years ago maybe now. And like, it's, even in comparison to new boards, like coming back to this, it's still like, oh, this is flipping amazing. So like the mix between the holes and where they are, it just works really well, and the climbs are great.
So will you have like a limit of how many problems you'll try on the board, or will you just basically go until you start to feel tired?
Yeah, normally till I start to feel tired. Because it also then depends, like, if I'm doing everything first try, I'll try way more, whereas if there's some that are like taking multiple goes, then you'll get more tired. So I don't have like a set structure of I'm going to do these boulders, just because it can change depending how you're feeling or what you actually mess up and slip off, I guess. So. Right, see how warm I actually am. Pretty warm. Nice. Sweet. Yeah, for me it's just the first move on this. I've fallen off that move once or twice, but pretty much like when I did this the first time I went to the top. Pinky Perky this time. So Megos is one that he added, well, it must be like 4 years ago now. Whoa, hit that wrong. Woo. Going to be trying a Milk It next, which is Mike Smith's other one, which he also gave 8B, but if Perky Pinky's 8B, this is like 8B plus at least. It's like definitely a grade harder. That's what's cool about this board as well. A lot of the older holds are just like, I don't know, they're more like outdoorsy, they're just weird and not what you'd get nowadays. Everything like, if you get on, I don't know, a kilter board or something, all the holds are like, they're just made friendly. You know, which is probably good for training and not injuring yourself, but at the same time, it's quite nice to have like some absolutely savage. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's just tearing the skin. That was really close though. When I first tried it, when I moved down in May, just like, I couldn't do the moves at all off those benches, so it took like a solid, probably a month of training to be able to actually do it. So I was like really psyched with that. Which is why coming back now after like another 2-month break, I'd be really happy if I could get back up it. Oh, balls. Yeah, felt amazing. Fully stuck that hold as well and just ripped off. Like, the difference when I do the start well and my feet just don't cut, so I just like do the move right. So satisfying. Now it'll be easy. Oh, come on. Hey, it's worth the one more, eh? So yeah, once I have sort of done those 3 really hard boulders, I then tend to like kind of go for a bit more mileage but bring the level down. So I do some easier sort of, just drop the grade 1 or 2 into the 8A, 8A plus sort of range, and then just do some more boulders in that range to kind of either try new stuff or just get more moves in basically. Flipping, good climb. That move in the middle is amazing. It took me a while to actually work out how to do this boulder. I felt like I wasn't strong enough because I assumed it was going to be like a limit and not use the bolt hole. I was like squeezing down just on the hold, and I was getting closer and closer each session. And then I actually went and watched the video of Alex when he was here, and he's just like straight in the bolt hole. And then I got back on it, I just did the move. I was like, oh, damn it. Just wasted like 5 sessions. Yeah, it's cool. It's like, the holds aren't so bad on that one, but the moves make them quite hard, especially at the top. That red thing's quite good, but the black hole being right above it, it's actually really hard. So, what we're doing, down there, it's probably an undercut, isn't it? To this, foot to hand, massive move to that guy, and then massive move to the top. That's weird. I was like in 2 minds whether to keep the foot low and try and go from like super extended or bring the foot up. And I did a mix of both and it worked. It's pretty hard, isn't it? So I think board climbing is massively beneficial. There's so many elements you can take away from it. Like it's a lot more complex than just basic stuff like fingerboarding or campus boarding, where fingerboarding you're working purely on finger strength in like an isolated scenario. So it's really good for injury prevention or training back in recovery stuff, and working very specifically. And same with campus boarding for like max power stuff is great for that. But again, it's very like confined. Whereas board climbing, you kind of get to put all of that together, and you're not working anything to its absolute max, but you're working everything together, which is obviously what you're doing when you're actually going out climbing. So it's a lot more relatable to climbing outside or indoors. I used to really be focused on fingerboarding in the past because like when I first started working with Tom, it was like, that was the first thing he said was like, I've got really weak fingers and we need to fix that. So it's like been the main focus of training, whereas now I feel like my fingers are kind of like my strongest point and I'm lacking in other areas like my just dynamic power and stuff. So I've been fingerboarding a bit less this year and like working more on my power through board climbing and stuff. So that's why I've been doing more board sessions and less fingerboarding. Yeah, so normally after a board session, because they're normally only about 2 hours long before you kind of feel like you're not gaining as much because you've lost that power, I'll take like 50 minutes, half an hour. I mean, sometimes actually I'd have like longer, but then I'd go and do another type of training. So if I was training lead-wise, I'd then go and get onto circuits and do endurance, do like 3 40-move circuits or something like that. Or you could go and do like, an hour of climbing on easier things. The other thing that I really like, which works really well if you're board climbing on something that's not steep, so like a 30-degree board, doesn't work so well if you come from a 50 because your upper body's just a bit more tired. Doing like really hard power endurance training, which for me, the way I do that is like 12, 14 move campus problems. So it's basically just all on your arms the whole way. Which is why it's not so good if you come from a steep board because you're too tired for it. But I find that like those sessions together work really well. 2 years ago, everything in the Olympic cycle for Tokyo, I did a lot of conditioning, essentially for speed climbing, to gain more explosive power and general strength, a bit for bouldering, like deadlift sort of stuff. But since obviously that's all over, I just not done any weights at all, or I don't do like any pull-ups or anything like that. I feel like through my climbing, because I do a lot and the way I climb, I maintain like a high enough level of each strength that it's like I don't need to do extra, and that would just be taking recovery and like time away from training the things that I do need to work. So that's me done for the day. Had a good session, managed to get the 3 8Bs done, which I'm really happy with, and yeah, feel fairly worked, but I'm going to take about an hour or so and then head out to Raven Tor and get outdoor climbing now. So that's my after session training today.